Maz's Air Conditioning in Girard. 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Partly sunny skies, highs pushing into the lower 60s. Clouds thicken back up overnight with showers developing late, lows back in the middle 40s. Cooler for your Sunday, scattered showers, small chance for a thunderstorm, highs in the mid 50s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Mother's Day is May 12th, so bring Mom to the best buffet in town at Mr. Anthony's in Boardman. Carving stations of prime rib and pork loin, shrimp and crab romano sauce with pasta, Swiss chicken, eggplant rollatine, and an exceptional dessert station plus much more. Mr. Anthony's in Boardman is the place to treat Mom and the whole family this Mother's Day. Call 330-758-5721 for reservations. Tickets are available at the office or visit MrAnthony'sEventCenter.com for details. Find out about Mr. Anthony's wedding promotion.
For over 40 years, Bronx RV has been a family-owned and operated local business. If you're looking to go camping in the great outdoors or you're just wanting a home away from home, Bronx RV has a great selection of new and used RVs. Bronx RV provides simple yet competitive pricing and offers a full parts and service department. Bronx RV pays top dollar for trade-ins and gives you the freedom to browse at their location on Route 45, just 4 miles north of Salem. Go to Bronx.com today to check out their inventory.
How many of your fruits and vegetables are grown using fertilizers and pesticides? Find out this Sunday morning at 7 a.m. with Chris McKay. Chris will have Sherry Gratadier on, a nationally recognized nutritionist. Sunday morning, 7 a.m., 570 WKBN. For lunch and special occasions, it's Overture's Restaurant with chef extraordinaire Jeff Crystal, downtown next to the Dior Performing Arts Center.
Hey, welcome, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and we get to do this here on Saturdays. And we bring you along, open up the floor to you, and allow you to ask questions all program long. So if there's anything that is on your mind and you feel like asking questions, while you have me here, you can rent my brain for another 2 hours and throw anything at me. I mean, we can talk about technology. We can talk about things in sciences. I'm going to do my best to what we sort of do is we use this time to take a lot of you that might be on the fence when it comes to technology. You're a little scared, and we give you a little bit of confidence so that you get out there on the weekends and dabble and try to add a little bit more technology, because these are literally tools that we can use to make our lives better. Makes us more efficient, makes us faster, and the more that we incorporate and do it well, the better we get. And now it seems when we don't do it well, it ends up being cumbersome, and it makes our lives more difficult, and it puts us in areas that are complicated, and it puts us at risk. Picture, you set up an internet connection for your grandma, you get her on Facebook, and all of a sudden she's talking to someone from Uganda, making a new friend, and there's, totally trusting somebody from, way across the ocean and whatnot. So a lot with the abilities become the responsibilities, and that's why we do this, where we bring all of you into this group. And we talk about this stuff very open, very publicly, and then everybody can pick up on, what they should be doing. So we kind of capture the state of mind of maybe someone who's had a struggle when it came to technology, and then before we have that struggle, we can share in that and learn from it as we go. So we've had over the history of the show, we've had people talk to us in the middle of a scam or a hacking, or their computer's infected, or their hard drive's dying. All of this stuff, we got put in the shoes of somebody that was in peril, and then we got to talk about, okay, what to do once we're in that situation, and then what kind of proactive stuff can we do to stop ourselves from getting in that situation altogether. So I throughout the week, I hear a ton of different scenarios that I could use as conversation starters, on this program that make all of us stronger. And sometimes this show goes very technical, and while the topic is dry, you almost have to put up with it because it's necessary. When it comes to a problem, sometimes it's a mathematical explanation. When we're in the suck, we got to get out of the suck by working our way through the math behind it. So I spent almost the entire hour last week talking about CPUs and how they work and how memory functions and whatever. And some of you don't ever care or don't need to know. But the primary goal of the conversation last week was, when you go into the store and you're buying a computer, right? We're not taking the Cliff's Notes where we just want me to tell you what to do. I was giving you the information so that you can talk about a topic where the salesperson doesn't know more than you. right? Because when the salesperson knows more than you, you're at a disadvantage that you will always lose. You will never be able to overcome that disadvantage because when we as consumers, we put our hands in the places, we put our the transaction in the hands of the people that we patronize, and we just hope that they're going to take care of us. And so, like, when I walk in there and I have tons of information, like I could shop just like you do. I could go up to a salesperson just like you do, and I can give them enough information that would make the easiest sale of their dreams, right? Because they don't have to figure me out. They don't have to ask questions and try to help me. So even when the salesperson is serving you, if you don't know what you want, guess what's going to end up happening? The salesperson's really not going to know what to do. So you think he's going to sell you less equipment that you need, or you think he's going to cover his butt and sell you more equipment than you're going to need? Well, the answer is obvious. But if you want to lower that curve and you want to go into the transaction with a little bit more confidence, then you're not at that disadvantage. So that's what it is that we do. And that's the long explanation as to why we have the dry conversations that we do. Because my audience out there, I have to deliver both the technical, right, for people just getting started. And all of you that are non-technical, you have to tolerate it because you're in this group where we have people behind us and people ahead of us. When you get a conversation going on this program where it's below you, right, that's your goal or that's your turn to chime in and help the people and help pull them up to where we're at. I mean, and it is a huge disadvantage when half of the people in our communities wouldn't know how to use a computer proficiently as a tool. I mean, yes, entertainment, they could probably fire up a website and watch a cat video, but actually use it to better their lives or, to make money or to further their education or communicate with relatives, all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of you in this community are below that, by that bar. And from the very inception of this program, that's been the purpose, is to bring everybody along. Anybody who's willing, that I'm willing to talk about the very basic concepts and bring everybody up. And I'm also, you want to talk about advanced stuff like artificial intelligence, I'm there too. And, our audience is packed with both of those people that are just getting started and the people who are well on their way. And, when I get in my fits where I'm giving a series on time dilation, right? Well, if you're one of those basic people, you're going to be like, hey, can't we just talk about the basic stuff again? And it's vice versa. So we all got to kind of share that. So I wanted to throw that message, because I could, I do, along with the hey, great shows and everything that you hear that people call, I get text messages behind the scenes that say, hey, I really wish you'd talk more about memory. Right? And I'd love to talk about memory. In fact, every show we could talk about memory, but you can see how there's some people who really don't want to fill every show with memory talk. So enough about that. Okay, so right off the get-go, I led in with this program. I want to talk about analog versus digital. The very day that I got involved in computers, the first deal was somebody said, we do too much paper in our office. We want to go digital. And I'm telling you, this was in the late 90s. So this talk was happening in the late 90s. People were really sick of just printing this and printing that and stacks of papers and stapling and bids and invoices and everything. And it's just got to be an easier way where these extensive resources of printed paper has to be able to be scanned and digitized and emailed and sent, right? All the way back then. And the internet wasn't even all that great in the 90s. But still, people saw the potential that we can start getting away from paper. And fast forward to now, and where it's gotten sort of naturally better, there are still a lot of analog functions in our society that could be digital at this point. It really, really could. And from a computer standpoint, all of the back-end systems are capable. Most of the objection to making things digital is going to be the human element. Right? And there might be really great cause for people to be objecting to making digital what is analog. So the suggestions that I gave this morning were like currency. Well, analog currency, paper and coins and whatnot, that's analog, right? Versus you doing transactional banking where you're transferring money from one account to the other, from one person to another, and creating the technology that makes it super easy to take, money and send it from place to place. Where is there a day where you can walk around and not have anything in your pocket but a plastic card or a phone and you don't have to worry about walking up to something and then saying, hey, do you have dollar bills? Like you can your metered parking would be coming from a digital transaction. For tolls would be a digital transaction. Paying at a restaurant would be a digital transaction. It would be so foreign to walk up to a grocery store and pay for your groceries in cash or a check, which are both analog transactions, and it would be almost by default. Now, what would it take for you as a consumer to say, okay, I'm ready to not carry anything with me? We know we have the technology. I mean, and this is the crazy part. Think about credit cards and how sort of absurd credit cards still really are. So you have 99% of the credit card transaction is digital. But there is still one component, a 16-digit number, that is analog, right? It is so close to most of your purchasing is done by a digital process, all on the merchant's end. But on your end, you're still carrying around a card that you're using digitally. So what would it take for that last little couple inches to get us from truly analog to digital? So what would you have to carry in place of a credit card? Well, the credit card has numbers on it. So first off, let's take the numbers and we're going to scrape those off. And now there's no numbers. All right. Well, then now that you don't have numbers, you don't know what your account is. So there's got to be a way now to identify you as a human being, right, with the transaction. This is where the objection starts to come from. How do you make it, right, so that people and transactions are aligned, where it's a provable thing, where you did the transaction? Because here's what happens with analog digital. Analog is just as insecure as digital, but analog is slower. And when things are slower, then you can manage slower things. So you have the same types of transactions if you sped them up to exponential speeds, like you made it 10 times faster or 100 times faster. Well, you still got fraud, but you just got 100 times the fraud that you did before because it can happen at such a faster pace. So if your technology is flawed, then it is magnified by the speed in which transactions can occur. So when you have digital transactions, they're absolute, right? They're 100% flawless. The flaw is not going to come in the transfer of money. There's going to be a part that the flaw is going to come in, and that's going to be that human element. So if we make it flawless, then we're going to have to tag people, right? Under the skin, little things, RFID chips, all the things that all of us are terrified for that tag us to transactions we don't want to do, means that we still have to keep using sort of analog stuff to slow things down when it really could be absolute and fast. So like you go out and vote with all analog contraptions, right? I don't know that you walked up. What do we do to make sure that you walk up to a voting booth and you are who you say you are? So up to that point, after I verify you, it can be all digital, right? I can make it digital. I can count it digital. I can make it tally digital and all that kind of stuff, right? So how much of the analog trail we want to disappear is really up to us, and how much we can verify the authenticity of what we're doing. So money could be digital. Voting can be digital. Transactions and if I'm dealing with someone from here to Europe, I mean, it's instantaneous, and if I prove who I am and they can prove who they are, I mean, you pretty much get rid of the fraud element. So you as the listener, if you would like to chime in on what you are comfortable with as far as the digital versus analog, please give us a call, 330-729-9977. I think we're really ready to start going into that direction. But here's what ends up happening. And from an engineering standpoint, we sort of, when things are analog, we get away with stuff, all right, because the process is very cumbersome. And so let's just say that we're in a digital world where you're going down the highway and your car is relaying everything that you do back to, home center. And so if you break laws or rules, then your car just tells the home center what it is that you did, and you receive a ticket, right? Well, I'll tell you that you every day as a driver break the law. You could go 5 miles over the speed limit, realize it, look down, and there was no cop that caught you, and you get away with it, right? But you did speed. Technically you did speed. So you can see how law enforcement changes, because how many tickets can you issue per second? Probably everybody all day. So they could really lower, the speed limit citations to like 5 cents, right, per infraction, and still make a ton of money on it, because you're going to you're going to do the same thing that you do right now, but the digital allows us to be managed and regulated far more efficiently and exactly. So it really puts the people who end up paying the most in speeding tickets are just the people who get caught. It's not that people speed. Everybody speeds at the same rate. I'm assuming. I mean, there's some people who are exactors. As you get older, you probably put it on cruise control and whatnot. But anyway, I just wanted to use that as to illustrate that the functions of digital mean that they can be more exacting. Where how do you know how much fraud happened in an analog setup? Well, it's only as good as your ability to verify people and addresses and whether they're citizens and whatever. And the functions that we have are, you got a board of elections that check to make sure that you're a registered voter, that you have an address, that you're a citizen of the United States, and all of those things that go along with it. So there's a level of satisfaction before you're allowed to vote. But in reality, how many times does a voting machine that has your analog ballot get set aside and forgot to be counted? How many elections? I can guarantee you that there's a level of error in an analog mode that is forgivable, that they're willing to tolerate. I mean, how many elections did they find a couple containers of voting that wouldn't have changed the outcome that you never hear about, because obviously that would be very, very bad PR, and nobody would have much they wouldn't trust our system if it had that much tolerance. But I can guarantee how much it happens. So if you went to a digital system, you have the hacking element, where your vote was in a station that, how did it defend against somebody getting in there and adding extra votes? Like, how it's not any different fraud, or it's not any more fraud. It's just different fraud. And what are we better at defending against? Whether or not we make a system where, like the blockchain is a one vote provable, doesn't come down to one authority, is an agreement system that could work really well for voting, right? Because if someone enters data that not everybody knows about, the next cycle it gets erased because it's an agreement system. Everybody has to agree that a transaction's allowed into the system by every transaction having to follow the rules. So people who did Bitcoin see it as a vehicle down the road to be a much more sophisticated digital program to manage much more important information. All right, so much more of this. I mean, we could talk about more about hardware like we did last week. We're going to talk more about the artificial intelligence or this. But 330-729-9977 is the phone number. You can text me at 333-1570. And you're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be right back.
From iHeartRadio, #1 for podcasts. Stuff you missed in history class.
People and events and places in history that are maybe overlooked or underappreciated.
It's a little look at things that happened in history that shaped the world we live in today, and they may not have gotten enough attention.
Try to bring them into a little bit more light and a little more awareness.
Things that are sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, sometimes scary, and sometimes sad, but all of them are important stories.
Hear the premiere episode of Stuff You Missed in History Class, Wednesday at 7 on 570 WKBN.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Nobody beats our prices at Menards, so you can clean up and save big money. Polar Plastics Multi-Purpose Plastic is perfect for covering insulation, use as a drop cloth, or as a weed barrier. A 10 by 25 foot roll, available in black or clear, is only $2.99 each after rebate. Plus, a Menards gift card is perfect for Mother's Day. Stop in and save through May 11th at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. The tire experts at Flynn's Tire and Auto Service make it easy to choose your next set of tires. Whether you're looking for great traction, a quiet ride, or just the lowest price, our experts will match you with the perfect tire to fit your needs, guaranteed. From now through June 30th, you can get up to $200 back when you buy a set of 4 select Goodyear tires on the Goodyear credit card. Visit our website at flynnstire.com or stop by any Flynn's Tire location today.
And tell them Vinny sent you.
Offer subject to credit approval. See store for details.
Non-attorney spokesperson. Ad sponsored by OpenJar Concepts. Attention veterans and active duty military. If you were issued earplugs between 2002 and 2016 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-212-4737 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-212-4737 now. Again, 800-212-4737. That's 800-212-4737.
Burnett Pool's financing event is happening right now. Take advantage of 0% APR for 60 months on all new hot tubs and above-ground swimming pools. Now's the time to own a hot spring spa, the world's #1 selling hot tub brand, or the perfect time to choose your new swimming pool. Visit Burnett Pool's locations in Cortland, Canfield, and Newcastle, or online at burnettpools.com. With low monthly payments on approved credit, it's easy to step into a new hot tub or above-ground pool.
Burnett Pools. We've got it all.
Groover Roofing and Siding, locally owned and operated since 1995. From roofing to siding to windows to chimney and gutter repair, Groover Roofing and Siding was built on a reputation of commitment to customer satisfaction and quality products, making Groover the Valley's leader in renovation and restoration. Groover Roofing and Siding, your home improvement specialists. Learn more now at grooverroofingandsiding.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we talk about things that are happening in tech, start conversations about things that are a little provoking, maybe get you thinking in a new line or a new way of thinking, and introduce new concepts. That's one thing that, a lot of times technology will creep up on us, and we didn't even know it was a thing until, or it was a big thing until we, put it into practical, like how are we going to use this stuff? We talked about Bitcoin for a little while, and, how's that going to make its way? You're going to wake up one day and somebody's going to start spending, come into your store and say, hey, I'd like to spend some Bitcoin. And, that's usually how these things happen, where it goes from no adoption to, big adoption kind of thing. And I was thinking sort of during that break, we were talking about, how to couple a transaction and spending money and to make sure that it's you, right? So when you get hit with those photo cameras, right? The only thing that's really there is that your car was going somewhere that's speeding. There's no way to know that you were in that car based on the information that they can provide. But my phone, right, it is becoming sort of an extension of my identity. The companies are willing to be able to say, okay, well, this guy carries this thing around everywhere. He defends against it. He doesn't leave home with it. It's in his pocket or it's close in his proximity almost all the time. it's almost as good as if I put something under his skin, right? So they're willing to let me bind a credit card to my phone or bind a key fob that opens my car to my phone. And then since I always have it, so start looking around at people and seeing how many people go around without their phone, right? And how often, because that would be almost sort of analogous with what you would do if you would have to carry your license or your credit card or cash. It would be the same thing. If you have your phone and your phone can play that role, then you don't really need cash or phone or whatever. And I'm willing to bet that you carry your phone often enough that it could be used to open your car and your home and pay for dinner and identify you because of the biometrics that are starting to be built in. All right, more to come. 330-729-9977 or 333-1570. You can text me. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
This is Dr. David Vitko. Do you know the difference between not being sick and being truly healthy? Listen to my show, Enjoy Incredible Health, with Dr. David Vitko on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on 570 WKBN.
Right now is the time to check out FairwayFordOhio.com for new Ford Escapes and Explorers. They're all on sale. See us at FairwayFordOhio.com or 330-533-FORD. Fairway, that's the way we do business.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. A shooting at a bar at Warren has sent 3 to the hospital. Warren police are investigating a shooting at the University at Larchmont Bar on Larchmont Avenue. The shooting happened at about 10 p.m. last night. Police are still looking for a suspect. The Academic Distress Commission is confident about Youngstown School's new CEO. Justin Jennings is expected to start his new job officially August 1st. He's the man chosen to be the district's new CEO. He says he's learned a lot during his tenure for a school system in Michigan, where he's still working as superintendent in Muskegon. Dave Beatrice, chairman for the past 10 years of the Mahoning County Democratic Party, announced his resignation last week. It's effective Wednesday. The Mahoning County Democratic Party Central Committee will vote June 11th on who will be the next chairman. Also this week, Joyce Kale Pesta, the party's first vice chairwoman, secretary, and director of the County Board of Elections, will become the party's acting leader. The deadline to apply for the position is 4 p.m. June 7th. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2. For your home or business, call Mazza's Heating and AC in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Partly sunny skies, highs pushing into the lower 60s. Clouds thicken back up overnight with showers developing late, lows back in the middle 40s. Cooler for your Sunday, scattered showers, small chance for a thunderstorm, highs in the mid 50s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Test drive new guns and gear at the Concealed Carry Expo. Come to the David Lawrence Convention Center this Friday through Sunday. Text EXPO to the number 87222 for your discounted tickets and free t-shirt. That's EXPO to the number 87222.
Great planting beds start with fresh mulch from Altiers Home and Garden Center. Start with Altiers' very popular double shredded brown mulch or their color enhanced double shredded mulch in black, brown, and red tones. Now is also the time to start prepping your garden soil. Altiers makes it easy with leaf compost or mushroom compost. Haul the mulch or compost yourself or ask Altiers about their same-day delivery. Call today, get it today. Open 7 days a week. Altiers Home and Garden Center, South Avenue at the corner of McClurg Road in Boardman.
From America's best-selling automobile to the world's toughest trucks, there's a reason why customers are driving from Youngstown, Boardman, Austintown, Hermitage, even Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So come and find out for yourself at our all-new state-of-the-art facility on Route 46. See you at Toyota of Warren.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the #1 tax resolution firm, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-973-7700. 800-973-7700.
Optima Tax Relief.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charlie's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charlie's.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we talk about things that are happening in tech. I want to share a story with you here real quick. Not yesterday, it was probably Thursday, maybe Wednesday. My wife and I were having a conversation, and she was dropping the hint that Mother's Day was coming up and that she would really like some chocolate-covered strawberries. Like, that's her thing. She loves chocolate-covered strawberries. And so we had that conversation. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll make sure that, sometime through the week, we'll go ahead and get you some chocolate-covered strawberries. And it was no more than maybe an hour later. She was like, you got to be kidding me. And I said, what? And she said, she turned her phone around and she showed me and she said, look at the marketplace. What is marketplace suggesting that I buy right now? And what do you think? Well, of course, chocolate-covered strawberries. So then this obviously, for everybody, if this would happen to them, and I'm sure it has happened to you, my device is listening to me. It heard me say it, and it's offering advertising based on the things that it overhears us saying. And I am telling you, every company that has been brought before Congress has said that this is not happening. We don't share data. We don't listen when we're not activated. We're not collecting that kind of information. And all the rest of us say, I don't think so. I think that it's actually happening and it's not provable, and you're going to try to get away with it. You can turn that microphone on and use it for advertising data. Nobody would be any the wiser. Now, it's also possible that what can happen is that the algorithms that are managing us, right, when they can be fairly accurate in their predictions about our buying habits. So if you go back last Mother's Day, did I buy her chocolate-covered strawberries around Mother's Day? Did I search for them in Google around Mother's Day? Did I mention and put a picture of it on Facebook on Mother's Day? So it could have been that it saw in the calendar that I got right around this date I started doing something last year, and it made that suggestion. It pulled that suggestion out of my algorithm because it's that good at predicting. So which is believable? I'm going to say a little bit of both. I'm thinking the algorithms are pretty sophisticated, so I'm sure the internets, the interwebs know more about you than you would be comfortable with them knowing. But that's really what they're doing. Data is growing and exponentially. Your online profile is growing exponentially. What it knows about you is growing exponentially. Now, could it be used for nefarious terms? Sure, but it makes more sense that the marketplace is going to use what it knows about you to make product offerings. It's way more valuable for legitimate companies to gather data on you and then sell you what you need exactly when you need it in a way that it's sort of like, in The Matrix when you saw the black cat came across twice and Neo said, hey, that's deja vu. Well, deja vu is a glitch in the Matrix where something's been changed. It's sort of like that where you notice something that's irregular. How did it know that make an offering? How did it know to make an offering of something at a certain time that ended up being so perfect that it even aligned with a conversation that you had? And you cannot understand or understand the patience of the technology, because it's only taking the data that you give it. If you give it a week's worth of data, it's not so great. If you give it a month's worth of data, it could start making little, guesses. But if you give it a lifetime of information about you and your behaviors, and listen to this, we would always go out to Cook Forest in May, right? Around, this time. Okay. And what we started doing was we started paying attention to what day we would always go. Would you believe that around, give or take a week or two, that we'd always go to Cook Forest and do canoeing about the same weekend every year? And it seemed to us that it was just an occurrence that we'd always think to go canoeing about this time of year every year. Hey, we want to get outside the house. We've been cooped up all winter. It starts getting nice. And then we want to go canoeing all of a sudden. Well, it just happens to be the second week of May is always the time where we go canoeing. What if, and then we tag or we put pictures about where we went. What if that picture came up and said, hey, do you want to go up to Pale Whale and Cook Forest and do canoeing? We'd say, no, how'd you do it? Well, it's because you went there every May for the last 6 years. It was pretty obvious that you were about to go there anyway. And another thing, I think this is around Christmas. Same thing. We would go to Cranax every Christmas because we have a young kid. And we would always notice that we'd always go on a day where they were having this parade. And we thought we thought it was weird that we always seemed to pick the day that they were having this parade at the exact same time, because Cranax would be super busy on the day that they have parades. But somehow, by chance, we would always pick the day. How is it? Because our human nature is so predictable that the algorithms can just peck little pieces that are fairly predictable, like things that you're likely to do because you've done them every single year since the beginning of time. You don't recall that you're doing them so predictably, but the algorithms could very easily pick that up as something that you do fairly predictably. So 330-729-9977, or you can text me 333-157. Let's go to Carmen. Carmen, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Yeah, can I ask a question about Bitcoin?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I could afford, I want to go buy a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin. Where do you go to do that? Just on the stock exchange or what?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. Probably your easiest way, there's a company called Coinbase, and I believe they're either Florida or California, and they're a U.S.-based Bitcoin exchange where they will withdraw money from a payment source, and they will exchange it for Bitcoin, and then they will hold the Bitcoin in a digital wallet until you transfer it out. So that's basically your easiest way. Now you can.
Am I totally anonymous then? Nobody knows. Nobody could prove I purchased that item.
Well, and the thing is, now if you purchase an item, you can do that anonymous. But
if I bought the Bitcoin.
In order to buy it from Coinbase, you have to satisfy regulatory identification. So they're going to know who you are. So if you do it the legitimate way, because they're regulated sort of like banking, where in order to be able to do these transactions and it not be illegal, you have to put up your driver's license number and you have to prove that you have a utility or something of that nature.
So the reason I'm asking, I'm reading a spy book, and it's a sort of like a Vladimir Putin character is trying to move billions of dollars, and he doesn't want anybody to prove where it came from, and it's all going to be done through somebody who has access to Bitcoin, and he's anonymous, and he could hide everything, and I just wondered.
Yeah, and if you pay attention, thanks for calling. Appreciate it, Carmen. Let me give you the reason why Bitcoin can be used as something that is anonymous. Now, in order to satisfy regulators, you can't purchase Bitcoin from without your identity being known. But I can get Bitcoin without going through Coinbase. Okay, it's a little bit harder. So let's just say I had a bunch of equipment, and I was able to sell it to a private buyer and say, hey, you're going to purchase this through. You can purchase this through me, Bitcoin. He can transfer Bitcoin right from his digital wallet right to my digital wallet. Okay, and then now the addresses connect him and me, he and I, right? His transaction and mine. But then I can wash the Bitcoin and put it through a laundering system that scrambles up sources. So you can hide where Bitcoin comes from because it's digital, and it's just basically a bunch of micro transactions that equal a summed value. Okay, so there are a lot of, and especially in other parts of the world. The drug trade probably uses Bitcoin pretty heavily. But like I said, in order for for it to be legal in the U.S. to be able to do Bitcoin transactions, you have to identify the people who are buying from you in order to still engage in being an exchange for buying and selling Bitcoin. And Coinbase does do that. So if you wanted to do it the legitimate right way, you can do Coinbase. There's a million other ways to do Bitcoin that's not legitimate, including you can make your own Bitcoin by being for 2.5 years, we mined Bitcoin. We set up these little computers that we'd power them up and we'd run software on them, and all they would do is process Bitcoin transactions, and in return for processing Bitcoin transaction, we'd be awarded Bitcoin. So we accumulated Bitcoin that no one ever transferred to us. They were just part of the Bitcoin reward system. So we didn't have to buy them, we didn't have to sell merchandise, but then we had Bitcoin in our hand. So we were the originator of the source of that value. It didn't have to come from any other place, but being the system. So if you're reading about how Bitcoin is used in the dark web or the underground or the drug trade and whatever, it for sure it can be anonymously sourced. If it's used legitimately, where I pay you for something, so basically what happens, think of the Bitcoin blockchain as being sort of like a checking account registrar. Okay, and so all of us that have a wallet, we have a copy of the complete registrar of transactions. My transaction, your transaction, every transaction that has ever happened in the Bitcoin universe is in my registrar. So no matter what. And my registrar talks to your registrar to make sure that they agree. And if something is entered into the master registrar of the blockchain, all of us have to agree that it's supposed to be there, and that's why it's not hackable, because there are so many people involved in the system, you couldn't compromise enough of the computers as a whole to be able to say 51% of the computers don't agree. Most of the people are independent. So if you've got 1 million people, how many compromised registrars would you have to have in order to thwart the system? More than 50%. Okay, so anyway, if I were to send you a transaction, it's part of my address that's in my wallet sent money to your address that's in your wallet. And then once everybody upgrades, everybody agrees that, yeah, I'm going to look at your addresses, and when you add up all of the owned addresses in your Bitcoin wallet, that's the amount of Bitcoin that you have. And when you spend it, then you take those addresses and you just transfer them to another person. So it's a transfer system where I'm pushing value to another person. It's not a pool. You can't, you can request Bitcoin from me, but in order to approve it, or I have to actually send it to you for the transfer of value. Nobody can take it. So, if I have a wallet and I die and I'm the only one that has my key to be able to get into my wallet, it dies with me. And so, a lot of people that are invested in the Bitcoin environment know that there's only going to be so many Bitcoin ever produced, and most of that it's a deflationary cryptocurrency. So the number that exists now every year would become less. So everybody knows that exponents are it's going to sort of be like, it was $1. We're going to carry an exponent, it's going to be worth $10, and the 10 is going to be worth 100, and 100 is going to be worth 1,000. So the people who think what's going to happen because it's deflationary, in 15 years, each Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million, right? And we're seeing that sort of like play out in the real world, where when we started dabbling at first, Bitcoin was at a couple bucks, and then it went to $100. And then it went to $1,000, and then it went to $1,000. So you're seeing like over time that's sort of playing out that way. But anyway, that's sort of in a nutshell the way that the Bitcoin market works out is there's a lot of countries that their currencies are so volatile. Like in the United States, we're kind of used to the dollar being at parity with other dollars, and it stays kind of consistent, and our economy is pretty bulletproof as far as the fluctuations go. But there are other countries that their currency is not like that. You might wake up tomorrow and your dollar that you're holding in your pocket isn't really worth anything. And so a lot of countries are using, even if the Bitcoin is volatile, where it can go from $500 to $1,000 or $2,500 to $5,000, it's less volatile than your home country currency. So they'll take Bitcoin and they'll add value to Bitcoin right? Just by using it as their currency rather than holding on to dollars that will be, I mean, think about it this way. So you live in Iraq, right? Where and this was, the Saddam and that era where dinars were just basically worthless. So you had something that had today $100 worth of dinars that could buy bread. And you didn't need to spend it right now, but you were terrified that you were going to wake up tomorrow and it wasn't going to be enough to buy bread. So you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, right? And let's just say Bitcoin went down by half. So now it's worth 50. Well then, but the dinar that you would have been holding is worth 0. So you could put it into Bitcoin, let it sit there, and then when you're ready to use it, you take it out and then go buy bread. So if you didn't trust your home country currency, you can very easily use Bitcoin as a more stable system to equalize the value of whatever currency that you would hold. And that's what a lot of countries are using it for, is to even stabilize the money flow. I mean, you got to look at what happens in China, where they on purpose they water down their currency and devalue it on purpose as a economic warfare against their foes. What if you're holding the currency that they're currently devaluing, right? You're at a disadvantage. So if you could take whatever currency, put it in Bitcoin, and that's why Bitcoin is sort of seen, no matter what state it's at, it's always had inflow of investment. Because not necessarily people in the United States, where it's kind of a faddish, there's no utility for it. Our dollar's good enough, and our banking system's good enough, and we have trust in our economics, right? Or the marketplace here. We're in other countries where they're going to put it in there because even if it's scammy and hard to use and slow and whatever, and it still fluctuates, it's still better than what's there. So I hope I didn't beat that horse dead. That's in a nutshell for the Bitcoin side. Before we start talking about Bitcoin, we were talking about our devices and listening to us and making those predictions. So continuing that story, and I'll keep this going through the next break too. So I did a little test this morning where I looked for some nouns and that I really don't use. Okay, I want to make it so that I never posted it on Facebook, never on Twitter, never talked around anything and whatever. And I was looking for things that just around. I didn't type it in my computer because I did not want to poison the sample here. And I picked poetry. And I'm just not into poetry, and I don't ever talk about poetry and whatever. So it was a really good thing to pick. And so this morning, I started talking about poetry. I started in conversations talking about poets. And the first ones I didn't type it in a computer. I in front of my phone, I would talk about poetry, and I would open to the desktop on my phone and talk about poetry. I'd go in front of Amazon, my Alexa, and talk about poetry, and I would go in front of anything that had a microphone that I could try to talk about poetry in front of. And so I started to see if maybe because I was talking about it, if that would result in seeing any advertisement swings or any content swings and whatever. So stay tuned after now, and I'll tell you what I came across after this break. 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Hey, it's Ron Vert for Nature Stone. Stop waiting and start moving. Let your family enjoy your basement. I know it's some damn dirty place that you don't want to spend time. We can make it look spectacular and put down Nature Stone. It's the only solution that will stand up to moisture, dampness, and even flooding. It's the right flooring for your basement. Get it installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule a free in-home estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. Naturestone.com. Remember Russell's Promise, or true unconditional warranty. Like my friend Mike says, it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Stiefel is a full-service firm offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. Stiefel, with 3 offices in the Valley, with experienced advisors assisting you. Information, visit stiefel.com or call 744-4351. Stiefel Nicholas Incorporated.
When you have a big yard, you need a riding mower from Ducat to match. With Toro's newest zero-turn models at Ducat, you get more comfort, more durability, and more ways to take charge of your yard. The new Toro Zero Turns from Ducat are heavy-duty from top to bottom. Easy to use, turn-on-a-dime maneuvering, and unmatched comfort and quality. Let Toro and Ducat give you the advantage to tackle your yard this year. Route 422 Warren, Route 224 Canfield.
Let yourself go to Ducat.
We we can give our children a strong economy and a clean environment, the future is in our hands. Fair and responsible energy reform for today and tomorrow. The Ohio Clean Air Program ensures more clean energy generated in Ohio by Ohioans for Ohio. By modernizing our environmental goals, we encourage the growth of Ohio-made energy from wind, solar, and other sources that reduce carbon dioxide in our air. And by investing at home, not in other states, we will create new jobs and a better economy, helping Ohio families and entrepreneurs. The Ohio Clean Air Program improves our environment, creates jobs, and lowers what you pay for electricity. It's time to reform Ohio's energy goals. Protect what's precious. Call your representative at 800-282-0253. Encourage them to support the Ohio Clean Air Program. Don't let out-of-state profiteers continue to steal Ohio's jobs and our children's future. Paid for by Generation Now, Inc.
Find out more about how you can help to improve our air quality. Get today's air quality forecast and the extended forecast. Help preserve the air you breathe for you and your family. You need it to live, and you use it every day. MahoneyValleyAir.org. Information for your future.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Smoking is not about politics. It's about people. There are 34 million Americans that smoke. For me, Juul was a game changer because you switch to Juul. It's simple. It's satisfying, and no more smell. I watch people all the time. They run outside in the freezing cold, can be grabbing their cigarette. Well, with Juul, you'll take a quick puff, and you're good. That's it. Now, Juul is designed with smokers in mind. From its form to technology, it's easy to use, no buttons, no switches. And the goal of Juul is to impact the lives of adult smokers by providing a satisfying alternative. Switch to Juul. You'll wish you had done it a long time ago. To discover the smoking alternative that is nothing like any e-cig vape you have ever tried, go to this website, Juul.com/Switch America. That's Juul.com/Switch America. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical. Juul.com/Switch America.
iHeartRadio is now #1 for podcasts, and we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for downloading and listening to some of our 25,000 hit podcasts, and thanks for letting us introduce you to some of our favorites, like Disgraceland, the Ron Burgundy podcast, and Anna Faris is Unqualified podcast. We know we have something for everyone, so find yours now on the iHeartRadio app. Oh, and listening is always free, even if you want to download them to your phone so you can listen later. Your music, your stations, and #1 for podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I'm Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your show where we get to talk about things that are happening in the tech field, answer questions, introduce concepts, give you the feeling, and give you some confidence to be able to get into new territories and try new things and just have better exposure to things that are happening around you. A lot of these technologies come together super quick and make their way. Used to see it where California would have their stuff together, and it would just be a matter of months before it traveled across the country and developed. We had iPhones for a while that remade communication, and then we had Tesla and electric vehicles that are and artificial intelligence that are remaking it. So a lot of things happening in short periods of time. Telling a story about trying to get to see if these devices are listening to us and collecting data when we don't necessarily have them activated. And so I went through these trials where I was talking about poetry in front of my devices and not activating them just to see if they were passively listening. And on the passive approach, zero ads and zero content made its way through that had anything related to poetry. So then I upped the ante a little bit, and I started activating the devices and just having background conversations that might be overheard. So I would say, Alexa, set a timer for 2 minutes. Hey, what about some poetry, Deb? Right, that kind of stuff. And to see if that extra stuff that wasn't applied to I didn't tell Alexa to do it, but it just would have been overheard because it was connected to a recent activation. And again, nothing, no kind of, nothing in poetry. So since I did this morning, not a whole lot of time has gone by. So over the course of days and weeks, we'll see if that starts making an impact, and I start seeing things related to poetry start coming across, things that I'm marketed to and stuff like that. I haven't typed it in anything. I've just talked about it in front of devices, so we will see. The experiment continues. All right, more show when we get back. 330-729-9977. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Hey folks, it's Scott Jones at Youngstown Propane. We've been in this valley now for 37 years, selling propane, fireplaces, grills, outdoor furniture, and so much more. That said, starting now, we're filling 20-pound gas grill tanks for just $10, now through Mother's Day. That's right, just $10 for a gas grill tank refill, now through Mother's Day. It's our way of saying thank you. Only at Youngstown Propane, Fireplace and Patio, Route 224 in Canfield, and Meridian Road in Austintown.
Has your doctor recently ordered a CAT scan, MRI, or any x-rays for you? Remember, it's your choice where you have your imaging done. And that's why Dr. Adam Crouch and the DMXI team is here for you. DMXI patients save anywhere from 75 to 95% off of their medical imaging. And DMXI is now offering a 64-slice CT scanner for the head, neck, chest, and abdominal regions for the most accurate images. If you need medical imaging, go to DMXI.com and see the DMXI difference. DMXI, just off Todd Avenue in Boardman.
On AM and thousands of devices, including Amazon Echo, Google Home, and Sonos. With our iHeartRadio app, 570 WKBN, Youngstown. It's 2 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. A dramatic rescue by the French military to free 4 people taken hostage from a safari trip took the lives of 2 French military members, but saved an American woman. But ABC News has learned that U.S. officials who assisted in the intelligence operation didn't even know she was missing.
The U.S. State Department warning travelers to a popular African safari attraction about potential attacks and kidnappings after an American and 3 other foreign nationals were freed in a daring raid by 20 French forces. 2 of the captives kidnapped from the Pendjari National Park in the West African country of Benin. American intelligence helping to locate those French tourists in the neighboring country of Burkina Faso. Only then were the American woman in her 60s and a Korean woman discovered with them, abducted separately almost a month ago.
ABC's Ariel Reshef. No trade deal with China, so the tariffs begin. The Trump administration raising tariffs to a whopping 25% on hundreds of billions of dollars of Chinese imports. The cost of those tariffs to be passed down to American consumers in the form of rising prices. And
China is threatening to retaliate now, which is likely bad news for American farmers and manufacturers. And experts actually estimate that this escalation of the trade war could cost nearly 1 million American jobs if it's not resolved soon.
ABC's Kira Phillips at the White House. Washington state is limiting vaccination exemptions. Parents will no longer be able to claim personal or philosophical exemptions to keep their children from receiving vaccines before attending daycare or school. Governor Jay Inslee signed the bill into law yesterday.
We believe in our doctors. We believe in our nurses. We believe in our educators. We believe in science. And we love our children. And that is why in Washington state, we are against measles.
You're listening to ABC News.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. A shooting at a bar at Warren has sent 3 to the hospital. Warren police are investigating a shooting at the University at Larchmont Bar on Larchmont Avenue. The shooting happened at about 10 p.m. last night. Police are still looking for a suspect. A police chase that started in Hermitage ended on Youngstown's south side. Several Youngstown police cruisers, along with a Weathersfield Township officer, stopped a vehicle along the South Avenue overpass on I-680. That chase went through Trumbull County. Witnesses say 2 people were being put into cruisers at the scene. Youngstown's Mary Pepito is now the proud owner of the last Chevy Cruze to roll off the GM Lordstown assembly line back in March. After more than a month, an online auction ended last night. That auction benefited the United Way. Pepito bought the car for $35,000. The Coatesville Township Police Department is warning about the theft of 3 utility trailers stolen from the north end of the township. Police say the thefts are happening during the day when people are at work. The recent approval of Ohio's transportation budget of $865 million will increase the gasoline tax by 10.5 cents and the diesel tax by 19 cents. Mahoney County engineer Pat Giannetti says the estimate for Mahoney County will be affected due to the closing of Falcon Transport.
They estimated $1.5 million coming to each county engineer, but we're going to see about a $400,000 deficit because of the Falcon Transport closure, because that's going to hit us because they were plated in the county here.
The increase is effective July 1st. And it's the annual tire recycling drive at the Cavelli Center. Today till 2 p.m., you could bring up to 10 tires, drop them off for free. Additional tires are $2 each. If it's a semi-tire, it's $10. The drive is only for Mahoney County residents. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2:30. Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charlie's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charlie's. Cool your home for summer. Call Maz's Air Conditioning in Girard. 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Partly sunny skies, highs pushing into the lower 60s. Clouds thicken back up overnight with showers developing late, lows back in the middle 40s. Cooler for your Sunday, scattered showers, small chance for a thunderstorm, highs in the mid 50s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Burnett Pool's financing event is happening right now. Take advantage of 0% APR for 60 months on all new hot tubs and above-ground swimming pools. Now's the time to own a hot spring spa, the world's #1 selling hot tub brand, or the perfect time to choose your new swimming pool. Visit Burnett Pool's locations in Cortland, Canfield, and Newcastle, or online at burnettpools.com. With low monthly payments on approved credit, it's easy to step into a new hot tub or above-ground pool.
Burnett Pools, we've got it all.
Great planting beds start with fresh mulch from Altiers Home and Garden Center. Start with Altiers' very popular double shredded brown mulch or their color enhanced double shredded mulch in black, brown, and red tones. Now is also the time to start prepping your garden soil. Altiers makes it easy with leaf compost or mushroom compost. Haul the mulch or compost yourself or ask Altiers about their same-day delivery. Call today, get it today. Open 7 days a week. Altiers Home and Garden Center, South Avenue at the corner of McClurg Road in Boardman.
This is Dr. David Vitko. Do you know the difference between not being sick and being truly healthy? Listen to my show, Enjoy Incredible Health, with Dr. David Vitko on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on 570 WKBN.
It's the tech guy, Leo Laporte. Sunday nights at 6 on News Radio 570 WKBN.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we get to talk about things that are happening in tech. Start telling a story about this interesting thing where we talked in front of our devices, and all of a sudden we started getting marketing ads and content based on what we just talked about. It could be likely that our algorithms are getting, are smartening up to the point where it can fairly accurately make predictions about what we're about to do. And it just seems very deja vu-y that we get delivered things that, are very appropriate. And so we start considering, how much of this is eavesdropping from our devices and our microphones and whatever. We're leaving it really easy. And sometimes we just like to, if we know that it's happening, then we can make utility of it. But we have to know that it's sort of happening. So we're doing this testing where we're seeing what's happening. And so I wanted to, Google's a big one where we do use Google for our GPS in our devices. And so Google knows quite a bit about us. And so I looked up Google sort of has this wing of them that has more transparency than most of the companies that do data collection. And so they have a website. I want to tell you guys about this. So if you go to google.com/settings/ads, okay, and you just go up to the browser, google.com, and then the /settings/ads, it'll actually just take you to a page that if you have marketing enabled, you will see what your profile looks like according to Google, what it has figured out about you. So I went to this page to see how much accurate, what depth does it have? How much right stuff do they have? How much wrong stuff? Because when they collect en masse, right, they collect a lot of stuff that doesn't apply to you. And so there's a lot of stuff that probably isn't you. So you might be doing research on something, and all of a sudden it makes its way into your profile that, you know, you're interested or you're involved in or something like that, and you might get marketed to that. Well, as the depth of your algorithmic profile occurs, after it gets deeper into information, and maybe you don't look that up, it gets shallower and shallower and shallower for that level of interest. So when I looked at my profile, it knew that I was a male, okay. It knew about what age I was, okay, where I was located, okay, where I traveled to, okay. It had these icons that were the really big icons were the ones that they were fairly sure about. And then they had smaller icons below that were topics that they were probably less sure of, but they were still built as in, you know, part of my profile. So I would say of everything that they had listed under me, about 90% of it was accurate. Enough so that if they marketed to me, I wouldn't notice that, you know, something was off. Now, every once in a while, I'll notice that my wife will be shopping for something, and all of a sudden I'll get inundated with ads that are real similar to what she was shopping with. So I know when she's looking for, you know, bathing suits or, you know, purses or something like that, because my marketing goes crazy on things that, you know, I would never buy, but I could always tell. So I'm going to go to my page right now. So I'm going to read to you some of the things that Google knows about. Now, if you do not have ad personalization enabled, if you go to that page that I just told you, and that is google.com/settings/ads, and then you got to put that / on the end there, you can actually turn the personalization off where it will stop collecting things. I kept mine on because it was, like I said, it was pretty accurate. So some of the stuff it's sure about, that I'm 35 to 44 years old, okay? I'm a male. Let's see, I have Disney. I have a 9-year-old. Of course, I have Disney in my profile. I have Home Depot in my profile. I have Newegg, computer component vendor. And then American football, autos and vehicles, audio equipment, books and literature, business services, coffee. And so far, I'm going down this list. I'm saying, okay, well, that's all good. I'm going to try to find one that's off a little bit. So here's one, jazz, right? So I don't listen to jazz, but I have done, events where I had to play some jazz music. So I probably went out there and I looked for some YouTube. YouTube and Google are connected. I looked for some YouTube smooth jazz, 3 hours. So I could just play it, turn the speakers on, and walk away from it. So it made its way into my profile when I really don't like jazz, but it's part of my profile. Now, as time goes on and I don't look into jazz or I don't add any jazz thing, the point value of jazz will go down as time goes on that I haven't gone in there. But the depth of that, so think about it in terms. If you let it pay attention to you, eventually it will be able to make really good predictions about you. If you don't let it pay attention to you, it really won't know you. So if you go off grid, then there are some services that the digital side of these companies will not be able to provide for you. They won't be able to, offer you what you need exactly when you need it. So in the future version of us, shopping is going to be a different engagement, right? Let's just say you buy from the grocery store and you click on a little tick that says, start paying attention to what I buy. And then when your certainty of what I buy, knowing when I'm going to buy it because I have 100% of the time, start taking a portion of my order and put it in my cart for me when I get there, right? And then as you get more certain, just put it in my cart and just ship it whenever. And then eventually, how much will it be able to know about you? It'll know when you run out of paper towels because it collects the proper information. It'll know what you eat for dinner, so it'll put it in your shopping cart. It will be able to make those predictions. But if you don't let it pay attention to you, then it's not going to be able to make those predictions. So, a lot of people that want to be off grid, turn this stuff off. Don't let it pay attention to you. Let your profile go stagnant because it's not a very useful profile. When we did mail hosting, we used to have a server that did email hosting. We would block spam. And the way that we would block spam was with an algorithm. We would have 2 email accounts, good mail and bad mail. Good mail at Youngstown Computer, bad mail at Youngstown Computer. With bad mail, we needed bad mail to have mail that was terrible, that was spammy, that was whatever. So what we would do with bad mail is we'd go to places and we would try to get on spam lists and then collect those email messages. And so when we got 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 messages in that mailbox, we would let a software algorithm look and profile all of those email messages. And it had to be that everything in that mailbox was legitimate spam because it would profile them if they weren't. So that if they would look and say, okay, everything in that box has the word Rolexes in it, every one of them. So the point value for Rolexes is off the chart. If somebody sends me an email with Rolexes, I've got a profile in there that says that that's a bad message, and it automatically takes one that goes to the good mail and it goes to the bad mail because Rolexes is that, radioactive term that has a high point value that means that it's spam. Okay, so then we would have to make sure that just if you're like, hey John, I got a new Rolex, right? We want to make sure that email didn't go to spam because we didn't want to make sure that was the only disqualifying keyword that would show up in an email. So we had to couple it with, okay, so in the top of an email, there's a thing called a header. And a header is something that you don't see, but mail servers do. It basically records when an email passes through mail servers, it puts its little timestamp and it puts its IP address and it puts information down there that each server can read. And spam, people who send spam will purposefully break those headers so you can't see where the message came from. So it doesn't disqualify an email. It still gets to where it was going, but the server can't read that. But in my spam, my bad email list, I can see and give a point value to emails that have broken headers. And we say, if you get to 20, it's spam. So 5 points for Rolex, 2 points for broken header, an email link that points to a different URL than the text says equals 3 points, and I keep adding these point values in there. And so email, when it passes through my server, gets scored, and then it makes a determination whether something is spam or not. That is what an algorithm basically does. It happens super fast, and it helps you come to a digital conclusion about what just passed through there. Well, what spammers would do is once they found that I had a honeypot that would attract spam messages, they would try to poison my honeypot by sending legitimate messages in there, so it would throw off the skew of what Rolexes meant. So they would send an email that had tons and tons and tons of legitimate words. So it'd score tons and tons and tons of legitimate words, and then my spam honeypot wouldn't know what to do because the point values were all over the place. So they skewed, they put so much meaningless content in emails, and since I put it in the spam account, it couldn't tell that, when they put 150 keywords at the bottom of an email message, was it those words that is what made it a spam message, or was it the ones above it? And so they started poisoning that. So that's what ends up happening on the algorithm side. On the other side, when you have a really thin online profile, it's easy to skew what algorithms can learn about you and do for you. So it's almost like either you're going to do this and give it lots of good information so it can really serve you, or give it nothing. Because if you take that middle ground where it doesn't know much about you, it can't do either. It knows enough about you to be dangerous, but it actually can't, give you anything for taking the risk of giving that information up. And I'll tell you, all of you, if you do anything online, are creating a profile that they do know something about you. And like I said, if you've checked that out on Google, not that it's scary, right? It's just scary how accurate it really is. And so you really law enforcement in the future is going to be different. What happens when algorithms can take the last 20 people that committed a crime, and they can evaluate what led up to them committing the crime, and then they can profile you against what other criminals do. And maybe they don't throw you in jail like Minority Report, but maybe they start looking at you right? And they start looking at people who, okay, so 5 points for someone who just lost their job, 5 points for someone who just declared bankruptcy, 5 points for someone who said that they just got out of a relationship, 5 points for someone who just searched whiskey online. And all of a sudden, if you get to 20 points, then your name gets sent on a little red envelope to the police department, and they pay you a visit to see how you're doing, right? Because you're showing that you're entering a profile of someone who commits crimes. I mean, is that something you would like? You want, if you're an innocent bystander and you think that we can find out a murderer before they commit murders, maybe that's something that's worthwhile for you. Or maybe you don't want people paying attention to what you're doing. So if it doesn't apply to everyone, then you don't want it to apply to, them specifically. So I would say in that digital world, there's a lot more possibilities, but there are also those people who don't trust systems to begin with. So if there's inaccuracies, like you have a system that automatically looks at you, we live in a country that sort of puts on the marketing material that we have freedoms, that we are innocent until proven guilty, and the government can't single us out for something they think happened. So we're free to do our thing and free of being a suspect and free of search and seizure and all of that kind of stuff without somebody having proof. So proof would be that the stuff that we give up for free. You're breaking the law. Your car knows that you're speeding right now. You are breaking the law. So is that enough proof to be able to satisfy that you have these freedoms? Or you're getting away with speeding right now, so your standard of proving it is a cop has to be on the side of the road with a gun and he shoots you right then, and that's you speeding? Or is it the fact that you were just speeding and your car can tell on you? But those are the debates that we need to start getting comfortable with, because the technology is going to be able to make these things pretty absolute just based on the information that it can gather from us. And security analysts and people who look at this stuff every day, they're shaking their head. They know what this trajectory means in the end. And if the public takes control of it, and we insist how this is going to roll out, then it becomes a really good thing where, let's have checks and balances just like our government, where we're not putting people we don't trust in control of it. We're decentralizing it so that no one person can use our information against us. But if we let it go sort of like, hey, we're going to give you information and we don't really understand it and we're going to hope you do good things with it, there's going to be a reckoning day, because somebody's going to have too much and there's going to be too much freedom exercise. So it's going to come down like a hatchet, and we're going to say, hey, Google, you collected it, somebody hacked it, they stole it, you ruined it, cut it off, and then innovation is denied and doesn't happen. And that's what I don't want to see any of that really happen. And that's why I feel like it's a slow stepping towards that is really good, but at the same time, it's lulling us into that it's not an important issue because it's happening at a snail's pace. But if we take it serious, I mean, hey, we know if we buy from Amazon, local stores go away, and it happens at a slow pace. Is there going to be a day where you look down the street, see that there's no local stores on there, and then be angered? Or did you know that going into it? Well, I'm just telling you the trajectory of this is that you're giving away all of your information that people are using for purposes of marketing. Are we cool with that? Is that cool? I mean, are we all still good with this? Anyway, if you want to chime in, 330-729-9977. I'll be checking text messages. I'll be checking in during this break. So if you have anything to say, please hit me on text messages. 333-1570 is that address. And again, I'll read those out loud on the air here when we come back. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be right back.
From America's best-selling automobile to the world's toughest trucks, there's a reason why customers are driving from Youngstown, Boardman, Austintown, Hermitage, even Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So come and find out for yourself at our all-new state-of-the-art facility on Route 46. See you at Toyota of Warren.
Hiring? Aren't you tired of hoping the right candidates see your job posts? It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology finds and invites qualified candidates to apply. So instead of hoping you find that needle, ZipRecruiter finds it for you, and hiring is a whole lot easier.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tired for no reason? Muscle weakness or high blood pressure? The cause can be as simple as a vitamin D deficiency.
People in Northeast Ohio and Western PA don't make enough vitamin D, and it affects their health. Listen this Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. for more information. That's Sunday at 8:30 a.m.
Hey, it's Ron Burp for Nature's Tone. Come on, it's springtime. Let's get moving and make that garage floor of yours look spectacular and eliminate puddling, standing water. No more slipping. We can cover uneven concrete, so no more tripping. Nature's Stone does all of that for you. And right now's the perfect time to call Nature's Stone to get it installed in your garage by the end of May. Get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate. Free. Online today at naturestone.com. Nature's Stone with Russell's Promise, their true unconditional warranty. Like my friend Mike says, it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
The Lakes at Jefferson, Shenango Valley's only resort-style senior living community, currently has opened independent living apartments and personal care studios. This brand new facility is on Route 62, halfway between Mercer and Hermitage. It offers luxury amenities at an affordable rate, with no additional cost for levels of care. Call 724-704-0039 or visit thenugentgroup.com today to schedule a tour. Follow us on Facebook for information on our upcoming events.
Quality, style, and function all made in factories right here in the USA. Hi, I'm Denise DeFala, and I'm talking about Pella Windows and Doors. This is one of the many reasons why Pella is the most preferred window brand in Northeast Ohio. Right now, you can save up to $100 off windows and $400 off patio doors. Plus, make no payments and pay no interest for 12 months. Schedule your free in-home consultation at PellaYoungstown.com.
Attention truck buyers, if you haven't been to the Stadium GM Superstore, here's what you're missing. Over 125 Silverados and Sierras leasing as low as $289 a month with zero down. If you're buying a new truck, you could save up to $10,000 off MSRP, or you can enjoy 0% financing on a great selection of double cabs, crew cabs, dualies, and diesels. So find new roads to a new Silverado or Sierra truck starting from just $289 a month with zero down at the store that always saves you more on trucks, the Stadium GM Superstore in Salem. See dealer for people.
You know who makes a perfect Mother's Day gift? Legacy Box does. Take all of those special moments that matter so much to Mom. Birthdays, babies' first steps, graduations, weddings. Legacy Box will convert them all to digital files and put them on a thumb drive or a DVD for you. It's the easiest way to get all of your old home movies, films, and photos converted to digital files. Nothing will make the moms in your life happier than preserving those special moments you've shared and then watching them together. If your family's memories are still on old VHS tapes or Betamax photos, don't wait for them to deteriorate, because they will. Don't wait to have them destroyed by fire or flood. There's never been a better time right now to digitally preserve your family's past. Just in time for Mother's Day, Legacy Box is offering you 50% off at legacybox.com/rush. That's legacybox.com/rush. 50% off. legacybox.com/rush.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and we get to do this on Saturday, talk about things that are happening in tech. So welcome everybody over on the streaming side. We're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Periscope, and 100 other places. So welcome you all over there. I see you guys checking in. I don't see the conversations happening. Sorry, I can't chime in there, but I see you out there. A couple of text messages that came in over the last little while, so let me read those real quick. Responsive phones listing. I had the OfferUp resale app on my phone. One day, my father was playing his piano and went to visit him. A couple hours later, As I pulled away from my father's drive, not 5 feet away, the offer app sent me a notification regarding pianos for sale. I removed the app immediately. So we are all very, very, very suspicious. All of us are suspicious that these devices are listening to us. And again, it's, learning what they're doing so that we can properly, if we want to defend against it. We're doing it without our permission part that makes us feel really creepy. If we know that we say something to Alexa, we have to say the wake word for us to listen. We're cool with her listening when we say it, but we're not cool if she's listening when we're not saying anything. And when Alexa first came out, we did a network test. We haven't done one since, so I don't know if this is still the case, but we put Alexa on our network and we watch the data transmission. So Alexa requires that when it records something, it sends it up to the web to be compared against voice recognition, see what you said, and then it sends a response down to you. So it creates some network activity if it were listening to you. So we put it on the network, and then we watch the device and see when it communicated up, right? And then we watched this thing just stay dormant until we would say something. So it really was staying off the, it wasn't uploading anything until we said the wake word. But I can't say that's happening now, but I know at a time I was really surprised that it stayed as dormant as it was, because you'd expect it to go out there and test for firmware upgrades and whatnot. Hello, just laughed about the data collection this week. My family and I went to Brandywine Falls last Sunday for a hike. Posted pics on Facebook with a location tag. I run the treadmill TV at home, and on Monday, YouTube pops up, Brandywine Falls Trail, right up, first selection to watch. I've been running in places around the whole world for fun, but this is the same place that comes up the next day. Wow, ran it anyway. So there you go. It is listening and watching to see what it is that you do, and we're giving up information. So I guess that's the end up. So we got another half hour to talk about things happening in tech, 330-729-9977, or text me at 333-1570. This is the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Test drive new guns and gear at the Concealed Carry Expo. Come to the David Lawrence Convention Center this Friday through Sunday. Text EXPO to the number 87222 for your discounted tickets and free t-shirt. That's EXPO to the number 87222.
Just announced 0% financing for 72 months on new 2019 Ford F-150s at Fairway Ford in Canfield. See us at fairwayfordohio.com or 330-533-FORD. Fairway, that's the way we do business.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. A shooting at a bar at Warren has sent 3 to the hospital. Warren police are investigating a shooting at the University at Larchmont Bar on Larchmont Avenue. The shooting happened at about 10 p.m. last night. Police are still looking for a suspect. A police chase that started in Hermitage ended on Youngstown's south side. Several Youngstown police cruisers, along with a Weathersfield Township officer, stopped the vehicle along the South Avenue overpass on I-680. That chase went through Trumbull County. Witnesses say 2 people were being put into cruisers at the scene. The recent approval of Ohio's transportation budget of $865 million will increase the gasoline tax by 10.5 cents and the diesel tax by 19 cents. Mahoning County Engineer Pat Giannetti says to properly redo a road, the cost has risen.
In order to properly re-engineer a road, rebuild it, you're looking at about $1 million a mile, as opposed to, $100,000 to $110,000 a mile to do a 2-inch overlay.
The increase is effective July 1st. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 3. Need an AC checkup? Call Mazda's Air Conditioning in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Partly sunny skies, highs pushing into the lower 60s. Clouds thicken back up overnight with showers developing late, lows back in the middle 40s. Cooler for your Sunday, scattered showers, small chance for a thunderstorm, highs in the mid 50s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
The tire experts at Flynn's Tire and Auto Service make it easy to choose your next set of tires. Whether you're looking for great traction, a quiet ride, or just the lowest price, our experts will match you with the perfect tire to fit your needs, guaranteed. From now through June 30th, you can get up to $200 back when you buy a set of 4 select Goodyear tires on the Goodyear credit card. Visit our website at flynnstire.com or stop by any Flynn's Tire location today.
And tell them Vinny sent you.
Offer subject to credit approval. See store for details.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. and you're even getting up at night to go. This is not okay. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 prostate formula, are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one. To celebrate, we're sending free bottles to men who want to cut down on bathroom trips. Yes, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Call 1-800-215-9360. P3 Advanced has clinically tested non-prescription ingredients to support your prostate. Combine that with a reduction in urges to pee, and you have a formula you'd be crazy not to try. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When picking a phone number for business, what sounds more professional? Your personal number?
Hold on, let me give you my cell. And actually, let me get yours too, just so I don't ignore your call, you know?
Or a dedicated business number, courtesy of Grasshopper?
It was a pleasure meeting you. Our number is 1-833-IT-TROOP. Give us a call anytime.
There's no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the #1 tax resolution firm, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-973-7700. 800-973-7700.
Optima Tax Relief.
We're bringing back the Mix 98.9 Time Warp Prom, presented by the Eastwood Mall, Friday night, May 31st.
It's a totally 80s and 90s prom experience at Mr. Anthony's in Boardman. And since prom is coming so fast, we've lowered ticket prices to just $20.
That's great. Don't miss the 18th Mix 98.9 Time Warp 80s and 90s Prom, Friday night, May 31st.
Get your tickets fast because they won't last at only $20. Go to mix989.com.
Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charlie's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charlie's.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I'm Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer. Just a chilled out a little Saturday here. Heart rate's not going up, not getting all impassioned, not talking super fast, so it's kind of nice to have like a little laid-back chill day. I spent some time this weekend, and I explained this to a couple of people privately. I thought this would be cool to be able to mention to the wider audience here. The one thing that we use quite a bit is AdBlock Plus, and so if you go to weatherchannel.com or you go to newyorktimes.com, they're heavily subsidized with advertising on these pages. And so you have to watch this advertising, and it takes, your memory and all that kind of stuff. So I can speed up some of the browsing by blocking any third-party ad content. And that's really what it is. There's Weather Channel and those websites, they basically outsource the advertising to a company that manages it, and then they just collect the revenue on the exposure to the visitors from Weather Channel and so on and so forth. The problem is I don't trust third-party ads, okay, because the Weather Channel isn't really responsible for the ads that come through those networks. And a lot of the hijacking and the bad ads come through where someone gets some malware. Usually it comes from these third-party ad networks that get stuck in there. Somebody gets outsmarted. They catch it pretty quick, but that doesn't stop the exposure from everyday users getting malware when all they did was go to a website. And it's really not Weather Channel's fault because that's not their ads. And it's the people that take these submissions on ads. It's really their fault, but it's tough to do oversight on all of the ads that come through. So it's just kind of like not great for consumers, not great for anybody. But what you can do is if you get an ad blocking program, what it'll do is if it's weatherchannel.com, it'll let the graphics and the content come through. If it's not any of that, it'll block them and not let them through at all. So it's a Chrome add-in. It's free. You can go to the extensions in Chrome and browse their library of the one I use is AdBlock Plus, and it gives you a little number how many ads that were blocked, and it's quite significant. I would say an average site is like 10 ads. Now, most of the sites like New York Times, Washington Post, if you're news junkies like I am, a lot of them will see that you've got ad blocking going on, and they will pop something up that said, hey, you're not paying for this stuff in the first place. In order to see the content, you're going to have to let ads come through, and then you can go to AdBlock Plus and actually turn that site off and allow ads to be displayed so you can see the content. But a lot of those, what's fair is fair. I mean, you're getting it for free. They've got to generate revenue because it costs them to be able to collect news and put it on the site. That is the new marketplace. And so if you could just let ads show, that's better. I mean, everything from television. I can't see how television hasn't taken a hit. First, it was DVR, where you can download or you can record your programs and skip the commercials, because you couldn't on regular network TV. You couldn't skip commercials. You had to watch them. Best that you could do is walk away from TV and use the restroom. But with DVR, you could fast forward very easily. And even now, on-demand stuff, when I pay for non-commercials, so if I do like YouTube Red, I pay $10 a month, and I don't get to sit through or watch any commercials. Like, I would gladly not pay commercials. Now, what they do with my ad revenue is they distribute it on their advertisers. Instead of me seeing an ad, right, then it's distributed because it's just a collected, source of revenue for them. That didn't come out right, but you understand what I mean, where instead of doing the ad revenue, they took it directly from me, where they didn't have to sell ads to be able to generate the revenue to support the site. So that, like I said, that all makes sense, but it's still not good for people who need to do advertising to let people know that they're selling a product. That's becoming increasingly hard to have exposure to people when people have the choice to be able to block your ads. And I agree with that. I think that consumers, if the ads are too much or too loud or whatever, if you want to pay to not have to do that, and you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so AdBlock Plus was the first one that I recommended. So that the second thing is VPN usage. Had a conversation with a friend, Craig, yesterday, and he travels quite a bit, and he uses an iPad when he travels. Sometimes he has to connect to public Wi-Fi in order to do important things, and he started noticing that there was, his credit cards or whatever would be compromised more than he thinks they should have been compromised. And he was suspicious of maybe some malware got on, and we looked at it and it was completely clean. So the suspect would be that when he was connected to public Wi-Fi, that public Wi-Fi, if you trust the source, like if it's a national hotel, they usually have IT departments that make it secure. So, but here's what I would do. If I'm a hacker, Joe the hacker decides that I'm going to stay in the Hilton, and I stay there the first night, and I see that they've got Hilton guest access. That's their wireless. So Joe whips out his Cisco router that has wireless, and I name my Cisco router Hilton Guest Wireless. Make it free, right? And then everybody around my suite that tries to connect to the guest wireless at Hilton has no idea that they're actually connecting to my router that's sitting in my room and not actually Hilton, because it's not a regulated thing. I could call my router literally anything I want. I could call it FBI surveillance van and really freak you out. I could do Hilton. I could do anything, right? So that you think you're connecting to Hilton wireless, you connect through. Guess what I can now see? It's a secure transmission to my piece of equipment. But once you're in my equipment, I can see everything that you're doing. I can grab credit card numbers. I can look at your activities, see what pages you're going to, and so on and so forth. So if you want to not let that sort of thing play out, how would you accomplish that? So my recommendation for Craig was to use VPN. ExpressVPN is the one that I downloaded to his iPad. It's a little application, and what it does is it creates a secure tunnel between you and ExpressVPN. Again, you have to trust the source, okay? I have to trust ExpressVPN. So the way that I pick my VPN providers is that if they're reputable, they're nationwide, they have some history to them, because it would not be in their interest to be able to leak or use the information. If your credit card got equally as hacked after using ExpressVPN, they wouldn't be in business, right? So look for some longevity in who you spend your dollars with. So these guys advertise nationally. So, somebody who I think are big enough to be able to be trustworthy. So anyway, so you're on, let's just roll out the same scenario. You're at this Hilton, the guy next to you, you're actually on his wireless that he's using Hilton's and passing through himself. So you're connected to this guy who could be collecting. But then I turn on my ExpressVPN. Now it creates a tunnel through his equipment to the internet. So all he sees is encrypted data passing through his equipment. So he grabs a couple of it. He can't make heads or tails of what's passing through it. You've now used him, but he can't see anything. The only people that can see the data are now on the other side of that VPN connection. And that's what makes it a little bit safer, is that you're a one-for-one with ExpressVPN now, nobody in between them. Your provider can't see the traffic. The wireless access point that you're on can't see the traffic. Nobody can see the traffic until it gets on the other side of ExpressVPN. So that's another really good utility to have in your arsenal in case you do come across you're doing something important, you don't know that you can trust it. From at home, I control the access point. The only people who can see my traffic would be my ISP, either AT&T or Time Warner or Spectrum or not Adelphia. What's the other one? Anyway, so those guys can see your traffic, but you have to be able to trust the providers. And they wouldn't be in business very long if they were not treating your information the right way. All right, text message. Joe, a friend has a Lenovo computer. All the brains are in the computer. Every time he turns it on and wants to update it, it takes a while. Does that mean the computer is old? Or why? I guess my question is, why is it always updating, and does it make it slower? Thanks. Good show. Okay. So updating is, and it depends on what's updating. You really have three things that would be updating. You have four things that have updating. So either the firmware of the computer, that's the hardware, the software that runs the hardware. You have the operating system, either it's Windows 7 or Windows 10. You have your applications that update, and then you have your security software that also updates. All of them pretty regularly find security vulnerabilities and will update. So most of it is automated. So you have, Adobe's software will automatically update and give you a little notification. Windows will update and give you notification. And also the firmware doesn't automatically do it because there's some danger in having it auto done. So what you're probably talking about is Windows. Every time you reboot seems to have an update happening. And that usually is good, and that's the case. Now, with every piece of equipment, when updates happen, the operating system grows by a little bit. And eventually the operating system grows into its newer iteration and newer iteration and newer iteration, which requires more and more hardware every time. So think about it like you're losing about 1% performance. I made that number up, but you're losing a percentage of your performance every time it does an update. So yes, maybe by the 40th revision that you might say, hey, my computer's so slow now because of all of these updates. So yes, eventually. Now, we put our hardware sort of on this trajectory that we want it to last about 5 years. So we're willing to say, I want to spend, $200 seems a fair rate. I want it to last 5 years. So I'm willing to spend $1,000 on equipment. So I put $200 away right now. Even if I didn't buy a new computer, I put $200 away. And I'm going to buy the best computer that I can for $1,000, that hopefully the next computer gets me another 5 years. And that kind of keeps you on pace for development cycles where, you'll be replacing a computer when problems are about to start happening, where costs start being generated, and two, that you start noting a big performance degradation. So if you get on that cycle, and that's sort of what Youngstown Computer did, and that's why you don't really even hear us advertising much, for our services. We've got a great group of customers that get on these really permanent, predictable cycles where they can pretty fairly predict what their equipment costs and their repair costs are going to be over the course of time, because this stuff is fairly predictable in that way. And so even on the residential side, if you go on the low side, it's going to be a steeper curve, where it's going to be a 3-year curve. If you go the middle of the range, you might be able to get 5 years out of it. And if you go on the really long range curve, you might get 7 years out of it. But it's going to be somewhere in that vicinity. So I hope that answers your text question there. What I meant to say is all the brains in the computer. I got another text message, and this is from the same person. What I meant to say was all the brains of the computer, there's nothing on the floor. It's all in the screen. Okay, it's an all-in-one. So yeah, an all-in-one sort of, to me, and I'll give you, this is sort of like my bias criticism of all-in-ones. So basically an all-in-one is you have your monitor and you have all of the guts of the brains, the things that matter, built into the backside of the monitor. So it's all one unit, right? And the downside to having an all-in-one, number one, is that if a component goes bad, it's a one deal. It's a one-piece deal. So the components have to be pretty good in order to last. So if you have them, you have to add something, you can't do that easily. If you take it apart, it's not as easy as a desktop. So as long as it lasts, then that never enters into the equation, and it being one unit is no big deal. So if it's consistent and you never have to break into the case, then it's awesome. If it's inconsistent and you have to do upgrades or repairs, then it's less than preferred. So I don't like it in that route. So, but that hasn't been the case in a long time. So even my judgment on that is a little antiquated. But second part of it, when it comes to equipment, temperature is probably the most relevant performance and sort of like how long equipment lasts. If you keep something hotter, it doesn't have the tendency to last as long as something that's kept cooler. That all-in-one is sort of like a laptop, okay? More confined space, smaller pieces of hardware, so your airflow isn't quite as good. So if you give me my preference, I'm going to give you the biggest case you'll let me to put underneath your desk, so you got tons of airflow, so the fans and the heat sinks can keep the equipment as cool as possible. That big case allows me to add expansions, and I'm going to build further into the future because I can do more with it. I don't have to keep buying a case every time I sell you a computer. We can just, ATX is an ATX is an ATX. Put a new power supply in the case you already have. You loved it and all, and you're going to love it again. But anyway, again, antiquated stuff. We've got, cases are $70 now. So when you get a new computer, you never use the same case. So it ends up being a consumable, something that you replace every time. So again, the components are smaller, which means they're more like laptops, and laptop components perform less because they're made for mobility, not necessarily for performance. They've got to build more into that hard drive that's, a third of the size than it would be on a big full-scale one. So I don't like it for that case, is usually the components are lesser than you would find in your desktop. So again, I hope that answers your question about the components and the hardware and whatnot. Okay, so next, we have a tournament, a Mario tournament coming up next weekend. And this is one, we ran the Super Mario Brothers tournament once before. We had a bunch of people that had heard about it after the fact, so they begged me to run this thing again. We had maybe 50 people email me upset that I didn't let them know ahead of time that this was coming down. So we did rerun this. So if you're one of those people who wished you could have been around next Saturday at 10 o'clock, we're going to be running the Super Mario Brothers. We've got one of these under our belts, $100 to win. So if you've played the game as a kid and you want to compete against other people, it's not a speed run. It's not a matter of solving the game. It's collecting coins and knowing where things are at. So I played the game not too long ago, and a lot came back to me. It was interesting to see how much my brain was able to deliver up some of those old pieces of information that I've long forgotten in my conscious brain, and the subconscious came through and said, hey, there's a hidden coin pouch right there. Go ahead and hit that one. Anyway, if you want to join, head over to Facebook or Eventbrite and look for Super Mario Brothers Tournament and get signed up over there. I think I got it priced at $10 to enter. It's $100 to win. So I hope all of you who have that in your blood will join me for that tournament. Hopefully, my goal is to get about 20 people in on this tournament. We can have two 10-person tiers. It's double elimination, so that if you lose, you join the losers bracket, and you can win your way back into the final tournament. So make sure you head to Eventbrite, look for Super Mario Brothers, or Facebook, and also look for Super Mario Brothers. Hope you'll join me for that one. All right, we got one little segment coming up on the other side of this break. Hope you guys will stay tuned. 330-729-9977 or text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be back.
Mother's Day is May 12th, so bring Mom to the best buffet in town at Mr. Anthony's in Boardman. Carving stations of prime rib and pork loin, shrimp and crab Romano sauce with pasta, Swiss chicken, eggplant rollatine, and an exceptional dessert station, plus much more. Mr. Anthony's in Boardman is the place to treat Mom and the whole family this Mother's Day. Call 330-758-5721 for reservations. Tickets are available at the office, or visit MrAnthony'sEventCenter.com for details. Find out about Mr. Anthony's wedding promotion.
Stifel is a full-service firm offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. Stifel, with 3 offices in the Valley with experienced advisors assisting you. Information, visit Stifel.com or call 744-4351. Stifel Nicholas Incorporated.
Quiet, comfort, and affordability. The most important things when choosing a place to live. Westchester Square Apartments offers something to fit every need and budget. 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and studio apartments. They rent apartments, but they sell convenience. You can find luxury living at Westchester Executive Apartments, 1,200 square feet of upscale living with carports, or independent senior living at Westchester Commons, strategically located in the center of Austintown, right next to Route 11. For the perfect apartment, call 330-799-5758. Come and be a good neighbor in a community of good neighbors. Westchester Square Apartments, Austintown.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the #1 tax resolution firm, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-973-7700. 800-973-7700.
Optima Tax Relief.
Guess what? Right now is the perfect time to tackle those home projects you've been putting off. So come summertime, you can just sit back and relax. Home Advisor can help get you started. Home Advisor matches you to the right pro for the job in seconds. You can read reviews and even book appointments online. Home Advisor can help with any home project, big or small, painting, plumbing, even remodeling. Find a great pro now before the busy season hits. Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. This Mother's Day, say thank you, Mom, for all the love she's given you with the brightest gift of all. Name a star after her. It's the gift she'll always cherish. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, the Star Registry will send your mother a beautiful personalized gift, and her new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for the gift that shines forever.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When picking a phone number for business, what sounds more professional? Your personal number?
Hold on, let me give you my cell. And actually, let me get yours too, just so I don't ignore your call, you know?
Or a dedicated business number, courtesy of Grasshopper.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Our number's 1-833-IT-TROOP. Give us a call anytime.
There's no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
At Dell, we know running a small business takes hard work. As a thank you, for all of Small Business Month, we're offering up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, get additional savings when you call a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor. Call 877-BUY-DELL today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Additional savings valid May 6th through 30th at 8 a.m. Eastern on select computers from customer calls Dell. Excludes Dell Canvas, PowerEdge T30, and select order codes.
From America's best-selling automobile to the world's toughest trucks, there's a reason why customers are driving from Youngstown, Boardman, Austintown, Hermitage, even Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So come and find out for yourself at our all-new state-of-the-art facility on Route 46. See you at Toyota of Warren.
Did you know that there is a new victim of identity theft every 2 seconds? It means a criminal could be spending your money, applying for loans in your name, and even damaging your good credit, all without you even knowing. It's a good thing there's LifeLock identity theft protection. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number for sale on the dark web. And if you do have an issue involving identity theft, one of LifeLock's identity restoration specialists is going to work with you to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, you get identity theft protection and additional features to help protect your devices against cyber threats for as low as $9.99 a month. So visit LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RUSH. Save an extra 10% off your first year. That's LifeLock.com. And don't forget the name Rush as the promo code.
iHeartRadio, truly the one app for everything you love. Or more accurately, everything your ears love. Thousands of radio stations, playlists for any mood. And now iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts. From award-winning podcasts like Stuff You Should Know and Disgraceland to big podcast hits like the Ron Burgundy Podcast, The Dropout, The Joe Rogan Experience, and a long list of true crime podcasts. It's easy to find your new obsession. The free iHeartRadio app. Your music, your stations, and #1 for podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer. We had an offline question about spin up on a desktop, and what spin up is when you fire up your machine. One of the first things that happens is there's a lot of like very mechanical autopilot things that happen where all of your fans speed up to or spin up to maximum RPM. Sounds like a helicopter. It's really over the top as far as they go. And then they sort of, once all the systems kick in where thermal sensors make sure everything's okay, then they spin back down because the thermal sensors will kind of keep the fan spinning at a speed that's keeping the equipment cool. Because if it's running at X amount of degrees and it's adequate, then it'll run those fans lower. If it needs more, it'll run it higher. But when it's spinning all the time, a couple things could be happening. Number one, some of the heat sinks or the fans might not be keeping it cool. So it's keeping in the state of being too hot and it can't cool it off. So it might be time to clean off the actual fan blades on the fans, the surface area, the metal that's on the heat sinks because it just can't come up to speed. But if it's happening and staying right from the get-go, there might be a system that is failing on the motherboard. So you want to be aware of and maybe have it checked out. So cleaning would be first and maybe have it checked out second. All right, great program. Thanks, everybody, for calling. I really appreciate the contributions. I love the fact that you guys call in and message me with those questions. I'm a professional problem solver, so that's put me in my best mode, my most comfortable and native tongue. So again, we'll be back next week. Thanks again for the program. Thank you for calling in the program. This has been the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.